It's a weird situation. So, my 26 male best friend is Derek, 26 male. We've been best friends since we were 8 years old. However, he lived with my family during high school and college due to some family issues. My parents call him their bonus kid, and we're brothers at this point. So I don't trust his girlfriend of 3 years, Nicole, 25. She's always just given me bad vibes. She lies about little things for no reason. Unfortunately, she and Derek have a lot of similar experiences and hobbies, and he's head over heels for her. I've always been respectful to her, but I'm always looking out for Derek. Unfortunately, my girlfriend thinks he's blind with love. So Nicole is now 8 months pregnant. Derek comes to me asking me to be the godfather and legal guardian. Derek works a dangerous job, so it wouldn't be crazy for something to happen to him. Nicole was on board with this too. I told him I would do that if he got a DNA test done first. He was shocked and asked why. About 7 months ago, Derek and Nicole broke up for a couple of days. She claimed nothing happened with anyone else and just sat home and cried. But why not make sure? Would it be an issue if she had nothing to hide? But my most significant reason is what Nicole did with her sister. So Nicole's sister had a kid. She claimed her boyfriend was the dad. He wasn't, and she knew he wasn't. Nicole lied straight to her sister's boyfriend for years. So Nicole knew the whole time that her niece wasn't his kid. Everything came out eventually. The dude left and Nicole blamed the ex-boyfriend for not loving his kid regardless. I told her it wasn't his kid and she knew it. When I called Nicole out, she said it wasn't her place to tell him. Ever since that incident, I've kept her at arm's length and would rather Derek break up with her. Derek and I have deep talks about that, but he defends Nicole's actions. I asked him if the kid wasn't his, would he stick around? He said no. Hence my pushing for a DNA test. Derek blew up at me, saying I'm forcing him into something he doesn't want. I said I'm not helping raise some other dude's kid, and that if the DNA test is such an issue, then pick someone else to be the godfather, and he can tell Nicole I'm the one pushing for this, and the blame can be on me. My parents are calling me an idiot. My girlfriend agrees that every kid should be given a DNA test at the hospital at birth to avoid issues, and we don't understand why that isn't a law. She's on my side with everything. Am I the idiot? You're not just being asked to be this kid's godfather, which doesn't really have any legal status. You're being asked to take legal responsibility for the kid if something should happen to Derek, right? So, not the idiot, that's your decision. You're not pushing Derek to do anything by putting a condition on your decision, and especially given Nicole's history, I think a DNA test is in order. But that's Derek's decision. He can accept your conditions for wanting to take legal responsibility for the kid, or find someone else. You are the idiot. Don't be the godfather either way. Even if the test proved that your friend was the father, it wouldn't change your mind about Nicole. You dislike her, and so you're hoping this test will make them break up. But he gets to decide for himself who he wants to be with. It's not up to you. You've already expressed your concerns, so now back off and let him handle his relationship. My take on this as well, he should decline the offer if he doesn't like the child's mother. This role should be for someone who respects both parents. OP, you suspect Nicole of having a fling 7 months ago when she got pregnant, but now she's 8 months pregnant. Your math doesn't make sense. If you and your girlfriend decide to have a kid, will you do a DNA test if the kid is yours? This is your issue, not Derek's. You're asking him to do something he clearly doesn't want to, and it isn't really your place. That's on him 100%. If he believes this is his kid, knowing everything he knows, then that's his choice. Plus, I kind of get the sneaking suspicion that you're pushing for this because you want the girlfriend gone, and this would get it done for you. Update. Thanks everyone for your responses. The test cost $159. I called our local hospital and even offered to pay for the test, so Derek doesn't have to. I talked with him again and showed him my post. He's going to get a blood test done right now. It sounds like Nicole isn't fighting him that hard. My female 34 and my fiancé, male 36, got engaged 2 months ago. I own the house we currently live in, but he started helping out with the mortgage payment after he moved in. I have a daughter, Ruby, tween. She adores animals. She had about 7 pets so far in her life. Unfortunately, her dog Tick passed away. He was her closest friend and favorite pet. It was devastating for me as well because he was so precious. As a way to honor him, I've printed a middle-sized picture of him, Ruby's favorite, and put it in a frame and hung the frame on the living room wall. Ruby was so happy with it, especially since she saw him smiling at her when she walked in. It comforted her. My fiancé saw it and got upset. He commented on how strange it was to have the dog's picture up on the wall and how much of a distraction it brings. I felt puzzled because we had all kinds of pictures hanging on that wall. He suggested we removed it, but I ignored him. One day, I arrived and saw he'd taken it down. Ruby was in her room crying, holding the picture. I asked what happened, and she told me that my fiancé took the picture off and told her she's not allowed to have it hung up there. I also told her to keep it in her room if she didn't want to lose it for good. I was shocked. I rushed out and immediately started taking down all the certificates he had on that wall, his doctorate, master's and bachelor's degrees, and about 4 or 5 other certificates as well. All of them I took down and put in the bedroom. He discovered what I did, snapped at me, and said that it's his house as well and I should respect his input. I told him since my daughter has to keep her picture in her room, he too has to keep his certificates in his room, according to his logic. He yelled at me, demanding I stop nagging him and acting childishly and spitefully. He wanted to put them back up, but I refused and said that if he did that, then Tick's picture would be put back up as well. Finally, he yelled about how I disrespected him and his achievements, treated them as trash, and stormed out. He's been giving Ruby and me the cold shoulder for days now, saying he won't speak to either of us until we apologize and put those certificates on the wall ourselves. Am I the idiot? Wait, hold up. So he displayed his certificates on a common area wall in the house, so anyone walking in gets to read up on his accomplishments, and then a picture of your daughter's dog was mounted in the same area, and that galvanized him into action? Shouldn't his certificates be hung in his office, or, better yet, filed in some box in the attic? This screams ego-driven to me. That was what caught my attention. Anyone who thinks their degrees and certificates belong on the wall of a home, but not a picture of a loved pet, has a serious issue. Also, what he did wasn't input. What he did was execute a unilateral decision. So respect has to go both ways. Respect isn't authority meeting deference. He took a picture of your grieving child's dog, threatened her, told her that your house is also his, yelled at you and demanded an apology. If you marry this abusive man, you and your daughter will have a miserable life. But, on the other hand, if you sweep this incident under the rug, you will be the idiot. When you have a kid, you have a huge responsibility for who you invite into your home and potentially be part of that kid's life. Also, please know your daughter will grow up and remember that this man mattered more to you than she did, unless you show her that that's not true. Sticking around in this scenario may also have an unintended impact on her future relationships. Do you want her to land in a relationship like the one you have with your fiancé? My 29 female husband 32 Jake and I recently had a baby girl. By recently I mean last night. A few weeks ago I was invited to dinner at my mother-in-law's home. She told me she had something important to discuss and I knew exactly what was coming. When I sat down, she held my hand and said, "Jake and I have talked and we think it would be best if I replaced your mother in the delivery room." I said I was sorry, but my mother had already been invited and I was uncomfortable not having her there. She squeezed my hand tighter, saying that it was not just up to me. Side note, my mother-in-law has never been the nicest to me. She would always make snide remarks about my weight and skin color. I said no again and said it was my choice as I was giving birth. The subject was then dropped, but when we got home my husband blew up at me, saying he had just as much decision as me in this. I disagree. It would be me giving birth and I need my mother there. He said fine and we both forgot about it. Yesterday I went into labour. First I called my husband as he was staying at his mother's at the time. Then after about an hour I called my mother. She was shocked to hear from me and said my husband said I didn't want her there. I told her I did want her there and she came straight away. My husband got to the hospital about 20 minutes after my mother, and when he got there, he brought my mother-in-law. I completely lost it. I started yelling at him and scolding him for telling my mother not to come, and then he started shouting at me for not letting him bring his mother. Finally, after he shouted at me for about 5 more minutes, I told him to leave. I said I didn't want to see him or his mother ever again. I'm still not sure if I meant what I said or not. Because of the stress put on my body, the birth became more dangerous, but my mother was here for me the whole way. Not the idiot, and what your husband did, telling your mom that you didn't want her there, was just evil. I don't know where you go from here in this 3-way relationship. Congratulations on your new baby, and I wish life, love and health for the two of you. It wasn't just evil, it was also designed to destroy OP's relationship with her mother by having her just not show up, so he can say, "See, my mother was there for you, yours didn't bother to show up when I called." I'm really glad OP called her mum herself. I would have a tough time forgiving that behaviour. Birth isn't a spectator sport. The primary purpose of every single person in that room is to support the person in labour and ensure the newborn's health when it arrives. His mother no more belongs there than she would in a men's bathroom. Does he try to bring his mommy to support him when he pees too? I'm always baffled by men not only thinking they have an equal say in birth, but are the authority. I want to ask him why he was staying at his mum's house when his wife was due to give birth. Who leaves their pregnant spouse alone when they're due to have a sleepover with their mom? A mama's boy, that's who. It feels like they dehumanize you to just a vehicle carrying their new child and grandchild, which makes me so sad for you. Your poor mom heard you didn't want her there. And of course you, birthing an entirely new human being, no one gave a crap enough to care about what you wanted. I can't tell you to leave your husband with a brand new baby, but my God, woman, you deserve so much better here. I'm sorry. I, 22 female, went to a wedding recently for my friend's 22 female cousin. My friend brought me along for emotional support since she was forced to go. My friend didn't like her cousin because, simply put, the cousin was horrible to my friend. She would make fun of my friend's appearance, which included anything from weight, hair, skin, etc., despite my friend being drop-dead gorgeous. This has led to her having major self-esteem issues. On top of that, there's a 10-year age gap between my friend and her cousin, 32 female, meaning it was literally at one point an adult bullying a child. My friend's cousin is also awful. She's a mean girl who gossips and fights with everyone. However, my friend's parents believed that family is forever no matter what, so she was dragged to the wedding, meaning I got dragged along as well. The ceremony happened, and we moved to the reception. Everything went surprisingly smoothly until I started dancing with one of the groomsmen on the dance floor. The bride didn't like this. I know because she came up and asked me what I thought I was doing. I was confused and asked her what she meant. She asked me why the heck I was all over him meaning the groomsman. I didn't know why she was upset about it. After all, she had a new husband whom she should be celebrating with. My friend intervened after she noticed the bride talking to me angrily. The bride, her cousin, turned to my friend and asked her why she brought this cow to the wedding. I wasn't too surprised given the stories I've heard about her, but that still stung. My friend told her to back off and not say that to me. The bride said I was a witch for dancing with the groomsman. My friend explained that the groomsman I was dancing with was her ex-boyfriend. I turned to the bride and told her that she just married another man, so it wasn't like she wanted her ex-boyfriend back. She then told me that the chances were still high that I had no right to put my hands on him. I laughed and said, "Oh, so you're the one who's actually a witch?" After that, the bride lost it, screaming at me, cussing at me, crying while her husband was trying to escort her away, and all the while I was laughing my head off. I had a few drinks then. Finally, my friend escorted me away back to our table. Now I feel like I may be the idiot for saying that to the bride at the reception, as much as I hate her. According to my friend, she's been getting calls and texts from angry family members asking the both of us how we could ruin the bride's big day. So, am I the idiot? I'm sorry, did the bride, at her wedding, say that the chances were high that she'd get back together with the groomsman ex-boyfriend? It sounds like you just called a spade a spade. While not exactly the most mature or polite, not the idiot. New husband patting her arm and going, There, honey, you're completely right. You could get back together with Chad. I'm here and I support you." Holy crap. OP, I think you found the only circumstance on earth where I would say calling the bride names doesn't make you the idiot. Well done. Tell your buddy to put her phone in a drawer until it blows over. For God's sake, she's getting married and still wants to keep her ex at arm's reach. Also, bullies suck. And your friend's family are a bunch of huge idiots for allowing her cousin to treat her like that ever since she was a child. I feel sorry for your friend getting crappy messages from family, but that's more about the family than what you did. I think the most unfortunate person in this scenario is the husband, the poor man. I have a tween son and a young teen stepson, and I'm currently pregnant with mine and my husband's first child together. My stepson and I have a very cordial relationship, but he prefers to keep me at a distance. I've always respected his boundaries. For my first sonogram appointment, my husband couldn't attend. The boys both have summer activities during the week. The plan was for me to attend the appointment alone, but at the last minute, I decided I didn't want to be alone and asked my son if he wanted to go to my appointment, and he did. I picked my son up early and took him to my doctor's appointment. Afterward, we went and got ice cream and then picked my stepson up from his activity at the normal time. My son excitedly showed my stepson the sonogram, but my stepson was quiet and didn't show interest. Later, after dinner, my husband asked me to talk with him. We sat down and he wondered why I took my son but not his to my appointment. I said I wanted someone with me because it was a big moment in my life. Since he couldn't make it, I took my son, who I'm very close to, with me as emotional support. I also pointed out that his son didn't seem particularly interested. My husband said his son was really upset and spoke to him when he got home about how hurt he was that my son was invited and not him. I said I wasn't invalidating his feelings, but this was my medical appointment and I made this decision for my comfort. I get that the kids come first 99% of the time, but I feel like my medical appointment about the pregnancy inside my body is very personal, and I should be able to do what makes me most comfortable. My husband got really quiet. Finally, he said, "I understand how you feel." Then he walked away. He didn't say anything to me this morning when he left for work, and he took my stepson with him, which is weird because usually I drop off both boys. I need an impartial take. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Look, it's generally thought that a step-parent treats a stepchild like their own kid. However, as both kids are getting a new sibling, it would have been better to ask both kids if they wanted to attend the appointment. Maybe this preferential treatment is part of the problem with your relationship. You're also a major idiot for thinking of a little kid as your emotional support. Do not use your kids as emotional support. Opie seems to have confused respecting boundaries and excluding. As the adult in the relationship, you need to invite them. Respecting boundaries means you accept the no. However, that doesn't mean you stop inviting for future activities. You decided to bring your son and make a day of it, which is fair, but by doing so, you consciously excluded your son and let him know he's not part of the nuclear family for you. He probably fears it will get worse when the baby is born, and I feel your husband is now wondering the same thing. I can't help but wonder if the behavior you label as keeping you at a distance is actually either hurt or a self-defense coping strategy because he's felt excluded in the past.